Hello, everyone. My name is Preston Dennett, and welcome to a new episode of UFOs and the Paranormal. Got a very special episode for you today. I call this Interview with a Fully Conscious Contactee, Part 2, The Photographic Evidence. This is, of course, an interview with Dolly Safran, pictured here. Say hi, Dolly.
Hello.
As you may know, for those of you who've read the book or seen part 1, Dolly Safran is the subject of my latest book, Symmetry, A True UFO Adventure. And Dolly is a fully conscious contactee, has been since age 14. It was 1973?
Yes.
71?
1973.
Yeah, her experiences are very, very extensive, more extensive than anyone I've interviewed. She first remembers, as we talked about in part 1, being taken on board a craft, or at least remembers being taken, I should say, at age 10 months when she floated out of her crib. From that point on, she had pretty regular experiences of seeing UFOs, having missing time. Had a face-to-face encounter at age 6 where she was taken on board, and that's where she met a tall white who she calls Mama. And
actually, a tall gray.
Tall gray, all right. Yeah. So this is all in part 1, which you can find on my YouTube channel. But her experiences were very extensive. She remembers being taken to the ET's planet, going on board their craft, all kinds of really amazing experiences, taking a tour of our solar system, visiting the moon. Again, all of this is in part 1, and I'm going to be doing further interviews with Dolly so we can talk about some of the other amazing experiences she's had, being taken on board, having healing events, visiting all kinds of ETs, all kinds of really cool stuff. But what I'd like to focus on here today is the photographic evidence. I've interviewed a lot of contactees, and I can tell you it's very rare for people to have really good physical evidence. Certainly people can point to scars and marks on their body and things like that, medical evidence. Very occasionally you'll get landing trace evidence. Photographic evidence does turn up, but it's really rare. And that's kind of what I first wanted to talk to you about before we get into the actual evidence itself, Dolly.
Okay.
Is, why? I mean, I think there are.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I want to talk about why the photographic evidence is so rare. And we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. There's, I think, as near as I can tell, 2 main reasons. One is that the ETs are somewhat shy about being photographed and are not always willing to go on camera. And another is technical difficulties in actually obtaining good film or footage. So I wonder if you could speak to that as to why it's so few people have gotten photos, and both in terms of the ETs being shy about it and technical difficulties. And after that, how it came about that you started getting some really good evidence.
Okay. Well, we'll back it up a little bit. Right up until about the year 1980, everything was 35 millimeter film, hard film, but there weren't that many people looking up. So ET wasn't filmed as often as they could have been. There weren't people out, calling them, running after them and taking pictures of them. That did not start occurring until the digital age. And digital cameras by their nature are electronic, and ET craft put out an electronic signature, a pulse, an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, that downs anything electrical, any equipment digital, all of it. If they get close enough, they'll turn your camera off, they'll turn your car off, they'll turn your house out, all kinds of stuff. They can lower the grid on you. They realized that this was happening. They have their theory about it. I'm not going to go into it right now. But they also tend to be a little bit shy. And a lot of things that they do when they're incoming, like movie theaters, you know, like the drive-ins and stuff, they're down on top of that screen. And I don't know if you've maybe got 1 or 2 photos from that, you know, in all your research. None. So,
couple people have tried, but
yeah, they're too close. They're in line of sight. Their signal is line of sight of you. Their electromagnetic pulse, and it just knocks everything out. It'll shut off the movie. It'll down all the cars, everything. As soon as they lift away, though, they can turn their engines back on and chase them. When they're incoming to your backyard, you know, in other words, if you're going to be contacted by them, you're not going to get anything. You're going to get them at about the 2-3 mile limit. You'll get lights in the sky, but anything closer than a mile, it's going to shut you down, especially if it's focusing on you. The line of sight of that electromagnetic pulse, it's going to eradicate your phone from doing anything. So that's one of the reasons. And yes, they are shy. They have an agenda of who they want to contact first, because everything that's going on, and they've made it very clear who they're contacting first. And I think it would be CE5 people, it would be children, everyday regular people at drive-ins, people at games, out in the public. You know, they're coming to the people, not the governments of the world. They're coming directly to the people, and that's their agenda.
Yeah, I've got, I mean, there was a case on Catalina Island where there was 12 people there, and 4 of them were professional photographers, but every single one of their cameras failed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've got case after case of that. There was another guy who I was talking about before. He had a brand new camera, pointed at the object, it powers down to 0.
Right.
Points it away, and it goes back to powered up. Points
Right.
back, powers down. So this is sometimes intentional, but sometimes it's just the fact that you're pointing it at it, right?
Right, line of sight. It's they're positioning the craft and the way it pulses, which the direction the pulse emits. If they're paying attention to you, it'll be directly at you, and yes, it'll knock you out. I want to bring something up. The Turkish UFO was filmed by VHS camera, which is electronic, only in that it uses VHS tapes in a camera that's powered with a battery. But this camera had one heck of a zoom. The craft was literally out at 2 miles, 3 miles, but it had the ability to exceed that and get a good up close picture of it. And I thought that was brilliant. And I wonder why people don't have VHS cameras now and are going back to that to film them. I mean, it would be very convenient if you were going to get a really good zoom on them to use VHS camera and that type of technology, so you could zoom up to them. Otherwise, you've got to have a phone with a really good zoom on it, and not everybody knows how to get that to put on their phone or how to use the equipment, and they scramble somewhat. They get a little floppy when it comes to the exact moment when it's happening. So, but it's a good idea.
Yeah, I love that footage. I think it's definitely in the top 10, if not some of the best out there. There's some really good old footage too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's quite rare. And another thing I've noticed is not a single person that I know of has ever been able to take a camera on board a craft and photograph the interior.
That's because they won't work. That's why the crafts are run psychically. Any electronic equipment on board that craft would never work. The batteries that they use when they come down below, into the atmosphere, are specifically designed to handle that kind of environment. They're highly protected from it, but even they can fail. It has happened. It's a big situation, and no, I've tried multiple times. I even had a little brownie camera that you wind it up. Nope, wouldn't let me take a picture on board because the actual magnetism of it messed the film up so bad it was blurry. Couldn't get a shot.
Yeah, so some of the best photographs out there that people have taken, it's quite clear that they've said as much, that they were called outside. You can photograph us now. The ETs pose for them, and they get some really good photographs.
Right.
So initially, you were trying to get photographs, but not having a whole lot of success, and then boom, you started. You just had to go public, right?
Yes.
And Talata, who is the craft that you mostly go on board, and is himself an alive and aware entity, said, you wanted evidence, right?
Yes. I asked him for it. I realized when I was going to the UFO MegaCon that he was going to follow me. He planned to follow me, and he had 2 other craft with him. And I was mentally talking to him all the way there. You're going to have to let me get pictures of you. And he did me one better. He came down within a 1-mile limit of me. I was able to zoom. My camera had enough zoom to get to him, to get some good shots of him. And he also showed himself in Las Vegas. They triangulated on him, and it was on the news. And I was so excited when I heard that. You heard it, I heard it, Yvonne heard it. We watched the newscast. And I was very disappointed afterwards when they wiped it clean. It's no longer available for anybody to watch that. But he knew that we were coming up to a deadline of their situation, and I really, really, really put it to them. I need this, and he gave it to me. He gave me a couple different situations where I got him, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, me too. Because trust me when I tell you that I'm often asked, like, oh, they're seeing UFOs all the time. How come they didn't get a photograph? Well, this is why. Because, they often don't want to for their reasons, and it's not as easy as you might think.
Correct.
There's some really good cases where people in the past have got them from Polaroids and stuff, simpler cameras. But all right, so let's start getting into the photographic evidence, because you actually have a whole lot. Not just a couple. You have quite a few, and what I want to do is play about a dozen. Well, I want to show a dozen still photographs, most of which are taken from actual videos.
Okay.
And about a dozen videos. So let me just share the screen and pull up the file I want to pull up here. And I'm going to start with one that you have not seen before, which is not your photograph. Okay, so this is a photograph that someone brought to me at work. And from his friend who was having a backyard party here in the San Fernando Valley in Southern California, and had a little bouncy house, as you can see here, and food set up. And they did not see this, what looks like a metallic saucer. I am just putting this here for, fun. And I just wondered what, you thought of it. Because sometimes people take photographs and they don't see anything. And then they develop the photograph and they're like, what the heck?
This is real. He's a lowrider. He is doing reconnaissance. The reason she didn't see this on film is he was moving so fast she never caught him. But the camera did. The camera clicked on it just as it was center frame, which is miraculous because a lot of times they're blurry. But that is an actual craft. And he's a lowrider. And he is scoping the place out to make sure that they can come down and make contact somewhere. They do that. That's a habit. Yeah.
Look at that. Perfect saucer shape. Looks metallic.
Yes, and you can tell he's on batteries because if you look at the bottom, the low part of it is protruding down, that circular area, that's where their batteries are. And they're on batteries when that drops down, and you can see it. When they're up in the stratosphere and up in space, that pack slides up and it becomes completely flat so they can fly. But he's on batteries right there.
Very cool. Yeah, sorry to spring that on you, but I just thought I saw it.
It's okay.
That's a good photograph. I wonder what Dolly thinks.
I like it.
All right, so now I'm just going to speed through a number of these photographs because we actually have the video, which is much better. But here is one where you can see 2 lights, but you're saying this is actually one complete craft, right?
No, this one is Talada's on the right, and he's got a drone sitting right next to him. And then the other one is another drone over there. They never fly with a backup. Talada always has one drone. He just dropped that drone, and it's kind of hanging around with him for a few minutes. I don't know why, but it did. And it might have been, so you could get a picture of it right next to him. But yeah, that's a drone and a drone. And Talada.
An ET drone.
Yes. Yes. Right. I want to be specific. They are only piloted. Their particular type of drone, if you want to call them that. And I use that word because that's what everybody understands about an unmanned craft. But they are not unmanned. They are piloted by AI, which they still consider unmanned because no biological entity is on board. It's AI. It's
All right.
mini biological, not complete.
And you say they never fly alone.
Never, ever, ever. If you see one UFO, there's going to be somebody else with them, at least one, minimal, and maybe 2 or 3. Yes.
Yeah, I started to realize that very early on in my research. And I would ask people, is there anything else? I'm like, oh yeah, I saw another one way up there and one much lower. So I did notice that. And they don't always see it, but I've come to realize, like, I think there probably is another one there that you weren't looking at.
Yeah, they're not always running with their lights on. They usually run lights out to keep you from seeing them. But in this picture, this is at Laughlin, and they had lights on so that I could capture them. This is Talada's side view. His front lights are on. That's on the right. And you can see the outline of his ship, and he's slightly turned up. He's in skiff position. But if you were able to make that brighter, you would see there's a whole craft in there. Yeah, that's just the top lights.
You can see it right here. There's definitely a metallic body between these 2 lights.
Yep, and it travels down. He is on batteries, actually there. They're not real far down, which means that he's half interdimensional probably at that point. So, yeah. All
right, here's another photograph, which is pretty cool. It's in color.
Yeah, it's the one of Talada with the drone behind him. And
so this is a whole craft right here. That's his headlight on the right, and this is the drone.
Right.
Awesome. This is just another
close-up of it.
Close-up of it, but gives you a really good view.
His headlights are so bright, he can look like a sun at night, and that's the brightness of it on the front end. I mean, they can blind you with the lights. They're that bright.
Yeah, I had that happen at CE5 with a the Stephen Greer group, C-SETI group. He wasn't there, but it flashed a red light at us, which I'm like, oh wow.
Oh, it was going interdimensional. If you see the red light, specifically a red light, they are definitely about to open a light door and go through it. Yeah.
It was very much like looking at a prism hanging in a window.
Exactly. They're shooting all kinds of color at it and that red light, and that is them generating a light gate to go out.
So here's another close-up, I think, of the
drone. Yep.
All right.
Yep. So he's actually heating up. He's getting ready to go pretty fast. You can see the plasma, heating up around him.
All right. Very cool. Okay. This is obviously taken from a video, as you can see here. But I love this one because this is a solid metallic craft.
Yeah. He let me. He's like a cuttlefish. He can present many different ways. Use light on him to present a certain way. And he was coming down in Georgia here, and I was alone that night outside, and he came down so that I could get a good look at him. And he's not far above my head. He's about 500 feet or so, and he's about 35, 45 yards in front of me, away from me. So.
Yeah, looks pretty close. Well, we'll see the video later. Yeah. That's going to be the last one because it's my favorite. Okay. So here's another one where he's just flashing his headlights.
Right. This is one. He's. I was in Panama City for this, and he's actually in the process of flipping. He's doing what they call a 360 rollover, and he was trying to get my attention. I was out there. I had a neighbor outside with me. She had her kid, and he's like trying to get me to get out of their presence. And he's just doing all kinds of good stuff. He was out there with us for almost 2 hours. He'd fly around us for a few minutes, and then he'd shoot out and circle us, and he came back, and he was very, very busy that night. He wanted my attention.
Well, huge thanks to Talada for providing these, because he did not have to. All right, and here is another still from Laughlin.
Right, this is an actual mothercraft. She looks like Talada, only she's way bigger, and she is dropping a drone.
All right.
In the process, and there's 4 drones there. I don't know. You can see how the light breaks up as it's going down. Yeah. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 drones in that drop.
Yep, you can see it. Here's one. Here's one.
Yep.
There's probably
and then 2 in the middle, right? And then 1 on the top. Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right, this is just another close-up again from that same video.
Right.
Which we will play later. I'm going through these pretty quickly because the videos are really much more exciting. but this allows me to enlarge.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah. That particular type of drone, I call them retrievers because they come and pick me up. Talata doesn't always come down to get me. They come in those. They're just big enough that I can be on board with them and they can get me back to Talata pretty rapidly. It's called snatch and grab. And that's because where I lived there, I was right by the U.S. Space Force, Tyndall Air Force Base, and they had to come in stealthy and get me out quick. So.
All right. Oh, do I go past one there? Oh, no.
Same one, yeah.
This one I snuck on. We didn't preview this one, but I saw it in your photos.
Okay.
So,
oh, that's actually 3 pictures of the same thing. That's Talata. You caught 3 pictures. See the difference between the things? That's just, yeah. It's all 3 of Talata.
All right. That's another very interesting. Here's another where he's turning over, kind of, on the side.
Yeah. He's about to give me Chevy lights or Cadillac lights. Chevys and Cadillacs sometimes have the same lights, and he knows I like them, so he'll show them to me. When they come down on the roads, when they're following people, they have the ability to look like a car behind you by their lights, and he's showing off.
I've got cases of that where people are driving along, like, what's that following? Well, that happened in Close Encounters with Richard Dreyfuss. He's like, go on, fast.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I do that.
And I think this is important because if you see how this is at a diagonal,
yes.
And in the videos you'll see the ET drone actually turning over, which drones can't do, right?
Right. There's
or military drones.
No military drone can flip over like that at all. No, in a controlled, slow rotation. Right.
All right. Here's another one. I think I just stuck in there again.
Okay. This is this.
I don't know. It looks strange.
Oh, you know what that is? That's a light gate shutting.
Oh, all right.
That's what's left of a light gate shutting down. They went through and I was snapping pictures, and I've never actually myself witnessed a light gate shut, and I was like click 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 click, and I got it, and just before it went poof.
All right, very cool. And it's just 1 or 2 more. There's another.
That's I think that's Panama City. Yeah. And he's just showing off.
All right. And now we're getting to the videos. Let me see. I have the sound on this one. There it is.
I'm probably saying, "Hey, dude, are you here to see me?" And here he goes. He's starting the rollover. All drones that we have fans or blades. You know, they have serious fans on them. The really big ones, and they can't do it. They lose altitude too rapidly. They lose control. They can't maintain. This is a anti-grav rollover. And now he's showing me what you'd call an orb. He can look like an orb when he wants to, either a red one or a white one.
Oh, okay, I'm going to play that again without sound. So what I think is cool is this is where you can see him actually turning up on his side.
Right.
Flipping over.
Yeah. Most crafts fly in that position, in that side position. They travel the electromagnetic currents of the planet, the field guidelines, in what they call skiffing, and they're surfing the energy wave electromagnetically.
So if you're, say, inside that, you don't feel like you're turning over, do you?
No, I do not. No. No.
And what is the red light that keeps flashing?
That's him getting ready. He's showing that he's doing it. In other words, they're like us, they communicate by light sometimes with one another. And if a drone's going to start flipping over and there are others around him, he will show them that he's in a rollover, and he'll flash certain lights, and it's white and red.
All right, very cool. Okay, I'm going to play another one that's, I think, on the same night. I'm going to turn down the sound because the language gets a little colorful.
Yeah, my neighbor was woo.
So here, let me play that and make sure the sound is not. Okay, good.
Yeah, he had been around us for over an hour and a half at this point. And he wants my attention right now. He is done. He's like, I know you're talking to her. Make her go inside. And so he did a really, really beautiful rollover this time. And he gave me the Cadillac and the Chevy lights.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, the reason there was a little girl out there, right? And she's
yes, she had
never
a
seen
little
it.
daughter, a little 12-year-old daughter, and we were trying to keep her calm. You know, I was trying to maintain equilibrium with her because she was right on the edge. Her mother asked me not to let her be scared. Her mom knew I was going out at night. She knew things were coming to get me. Saw it. I live right next door to her, and every time she saw me go outside, she'd follow me. What's going on? I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah, that's good footage. I want to play this one more time.
Yeah, wait for his lights. Show his lights. He's doing it. He's going to flash them. See? Aren't they pretty?
Yes.
Doing Chevy lights. Yeah.
So how far away would you estimate he is at this point?
He's about 500, between 500 and 700 feet above our heads. Yep.
And so
he's only about an eighth of a mile from me at that point. If I was to go due south of my point, I would be under him in a couple of minutes because he's about an eighth of a mile under me. I would have been there.
And this is Tolada, right?
This one is nope. This is an AI.
Oh, all right.
Catcher. But Tolada is above his head. Tolada's never. I'm never without him. He's always. If I'm being contacted, Tolada's up above him, waiting for me to get there. He brings me to him.
Did a complete rollover there.
Yeah.
Wow. And how big is one of these?
They're about 20 feet in diameter, and they have a shape to them that's kind of sporty, and they have just the basic needs. There's no beds, there's no potty, there's no nothing. It's just a transporter.
All right, I'm gonna play the next one here. Let me make sure the sound is up. Oh no, wait, this was the really loud one. So
okay.
I'm not gonna play the sound on this one because it's just too noisy.
Yeah, we had an incident one night, and it brought Tolada down. Somebody behind us in the building behind us was holding somebody prisoner, I think. And the police showed up in number with fire trucks rolling and ambulances and everything. And they had a bullhorn and they were screaming at him to get out, to come out now with his hands out. And there's a lot of honking and.
So that's what the red light is, this police siren.
Yes, yeah, the flashing lights of the cops. And Tolada's like, what's going on? And I'm like, somebody's in trouble. And he's like, And he watched the whole thing. He came down for it. Yeah, he figured they were looking at him, not them, not him, so he had an opportunity,
So he'll appear in just a second, but right now you're actually filming outside of your window?
Yes, I'm one story up. I'm on the second floor of our apartment. It's a townhouse, and I'm looking out my bedroom window and filming it.
Because this was a somewhat cloudy night. In just a second here, you're going to see some lights down here on the second, or the bottom half.
Yep.
And you can explain what we're looking at as soon as they show up, which is going to be right.
I was panning toward it, and then I caught Tolada in my mind, and there he is. I looked back up, and there he was.
Okay, so what we're looking at. Yeah. There's a dark line here. This is a whole cloud layer, and here's the the actual horizon down here, right?
Yes. And you're way down below it.
And you can see your reflection here in the window.
Yep. And there's Tolada right there.
So these two lights is one craft.
Yeah, and he's at the 3-mile limit right there, and he's skiffing.
All right. Now this is not super great footage, but it certainly is interesting because he's coming down to check things out.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to play this because it's some of the footage is better than others. I'm saving the best for last, or what I think is the best. But you have a lot of this stuff. I mean, this is just a small sampling.
Yes.
So it does not appear that he's really moving here at all.
No, he's dead up, skiffing. He's in one position. And he can't come in too low. That's why he's at almost the 3-mile limit. Because if he came down it would knock out the whole neighborhood. Everybody would have lost power. And that would have been bad. So he didn't do that.
At this point, he's communicating with you telepathically?
Yes. Yep.
All right.
He came in because they were getting ready to contact me, and then all this started happening, and they were surveilling it. They were making sure that I was going to be okay. They watch everything that goes on around me, always. So.
Yeah, well, that's true. Definitely with other contactees, I know. All right, going to move on to the next footage, and let me just turn up the footage or the sound here.
Okay.
This is a good one.
Yep. This is on the back porch. I'm outside. It's late at night. I'm sitting in a chair because I know I'm about to be contacted. Everybody had gone to bed, and this is a retriever coming down for me, an AI, and he's coming in pretty slow. He's watching everything right now. We live about 10 miles from the base, U.S. Space Force, Tyndall, and so they have to be very careful. This is a heavily populated area. They don't want anybody shooting at them. Missiles tend to fragment when they hit the field around the craft, and those fragments can come down and kill people. And so they don't want to draw fire over populated areas. It's very bad. And that's why he's doing this so easy, slow.
So here's the house down below.
Yeah, that's not my house. That's the one back of us, on the other side of that fence. And it's their back of their house. It's grass between us. Okay.
Right.
That's not a parking lot or a road there. That's all grass.
Okay. And you can see another light up here. So that's a second craft.
No, that one is actually, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Jupiter's all the way down low. And yeah, there was another one hanging around with them. Correct.
All right. And so this blinking is really just him coming in and out of the clouds?
Yes. There's crystallized clouds, high cirrus up there, and he was coming through that layer. They were dropping down. They were going to have fog. And he's sighting me now. He's trying to find me. He knows I'm there. He knows about where I'm at. And he's about to flash a light down on that house. So if I see it, I'll jerk. He'll hear it in my head, and he'll know he's almost on top of me. And I'll tell him, more, 20 feet, 30 feet onto your right, whatever, from your position, and then he'll know where I'm at.
All right. So we'll see this whole house light up in just a second then.
Yeah.
I will play it back so everyone can see it. There it goes.
Oh, there it went. Yeah.
So here, let's just go back and pay very close attention to the house here. And so he's sending out a beam?
Yes.
There.
It's a searchlight. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Talata then.
Talata's above him.
Oh, okay.
He's the retriever. They all have the ability to shine a really big light. All of them. They're all equipped.
All right. And so this is, they're actually planning to come pick you up at this point.
Yes, when he gets within so many feet of me, he will zoom up on me, and they will take me up as quickly as they can. I will walk out into the yard because I know he's there. I'm getting ready to, actually. I'm sitting in a chair, and I'm just waiting for him to give me the signal, get up, go, and he'll grab me. They'll grab me in a light beam. They can do that. Okay, they can levitate you up in this beam,
Now this is when your housemate opened the door and.
Yeah, my son-in-law. He got up for some reason and was wandering around. He saw me sitting out there like, "What you doing?" And then he hit me with the door in the chair. It's like, oh, and then they took off. He went, "Nope, not playing." It scared him off.
All right, I just turned on the sound so I can see this one more time. So this is the drone, the pickup craft.
Yes.
And Talata is the fainter light. I think I saw him right there.
Yeah, he's up there. He's watching.
There, right there.
Yeah, he's around. You see him blinking back and forth. The reason that he watches this so closely is if anything scrambles against him, he will drag them away from the scene. In other words, he will give me cover. In other words, he'll, give them something to do other than pay attention to me. And what that craft is doing, he'll, what do they call that? Diversion. Right. He'll create a diversion.
So at this point, they're still pretty far away. Or how far away would you say?
He's a good well, right now he's up there. Okay, you turn it back to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I think
well,
so. Okay, yeah.
We're
He's
halfway
way
through
up
it
there right
now.
now. Yeah, he's under a mile up, and he's probably a half a mile away. You know,
All right.
and he's just coming down real slow, and he's inching toward me. You know, moving forward, and he's watching everything on the ground below him as he's sighting me out. And he knows basically where I am. He can hear me in his head. I have implants, okay? And Talada's guiding him as well, because Talada has what you would call GPS on me. Talada knows exactly where I am. And so.
You know what's good about this footage is you have the foreground, the house. You can see this isn't a balloon. It's not a satellite. Duh.
No.
It's not ball lightning.
No.
It's not an airplane.
No.
It's not a helicopter.
No. You can't hear anything. All you hear is our air conditioning unit. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. No sound. None. If it was a drone, a police drone or something like that, you would hear it whirling,
Oh,
it's not it.
There's the house lighting up again. Let me just replay that real quick so we can get another look at that. So when he's sending down a beam of light, boom. That's interesting. All right, another very interesting piece of footage. It's very cool. And some of the stuff coming up is even better. And this is important that people see that this is a physical experience. People are trying to say, oh,
No.
UFO events are psychological. No. People are being taken physically on board. They are physically there.
Yes.
And here
it's quite the event.
He's not close enough to affect your camera in any way. So this is
not yet. No.
All right. And they have ways of overcoming that
as well. He's not in line of sight of me. In other words, they knew I was filming this, okay? And I was going to get as much of this as I could until it dimed out. And once that beam hit me, it would have killed the camera instantly. It would have knocked all the power out in the house, everything.
All right. So. Now we're going to, here's another, oh, I love this footage. So I think this was, this was Laughlin.
Yeah.
June 2021. June 6th.
6th. Yeah, after midnight, actually. So it's like June 7th in the morning.
Now look at that. There you can see the craft.
Yep. That is Talada. I want everybody to pay attention. I wish you could make that bigger, but the shot of him sideways, you can make it big enough. I want everybody to think real hard. Where have they seen the shape of that craft before? And
yeah, well, I know what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I turned on the sound. So if you want to make more comments, here's the light. He's flashing his light, and we saw the other craft over here. But this is Talada.
Yes, that is Talada sitting there. Yep.
And he's what, a couple hundred feet across?
He's 230 some odd feet, give or take. Yeah. And he can actually become 250. He can expand. He is able to do that. He can make himself bigger. He can make rooms bigger, all kinds of stuff.
So it looks like two other craft besides Talada.
Yep. Yeah, the lighting is not good, but there were actually 5 of them up there. I counted 5.
All right. And this was I was arriving the next day. We both went to this conference. I was speaking there.
I know. You were on, what show were you on that night? Coast to Coast?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's why you couldn't get there the same day, because you had to do Coast to Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that footage. That is really good footage. And now we have another piece of really good footage that I'd like to play. Let me get the sound. This was also the same night. Let me just start this over.
That's also Talada. And he's got his headlights on pretty bright. Now, he did buzz bomb us, okay? This is just before he did that. And when he did, my camera died. It was over, okay? But he wanted Yvonne to be surprised. So, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the footage, that actually appeared on the news in Arizona the next day.
Yep.
And we both watched it. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, Yvonne had to drive the next day to Las Vegas on her way home, because she lives just like northeast of Phoenix. So she was going that way. And she called me on the phone screaming, "You're not going to believe this. Turn the news on." And I'm like, "Why?" She says, "You're on the news. He's on the news. They got him. They got him." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody there yet. I was just there. So if I'd met anybody at the conference or anything, I would have invited him over to sit with me, but I didn't know anybody. And he's a little bit shy when it comes to stuff like that. So, and he's of the mind that you never know who's going to be at the conference, who would show up, who could make a phone call. So put him at risk. So we're not going to do that.
Yeah, this was the first day of the conference, I think.
Yes. Yep.
And as I remember, you were facing north, so this is practically over the conference itself.
Yes, exactly. It was. He did it well. There was if anybody was out there looking up, they would have seen him. That's what.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because there were nights that they planned to do CE5s during that conference, and they all went out and did it. And I was just like, "Oh my God!" And I don't know if they got in any film or anything. Dolly didn't tell me. I was too busy learning about things. This was the very first conference I ever went to. I knew I was still a babe in the woods when it came to what goes on in this community, and I was all agog. I was gobsmacked. It's like, wow.
All right. Yeah, this is again really good footage. What's really interesting about this is there are a number of UFO conferences where people have been able to photograph or film UFOs over the conference itself.
Right.
So they will show up. And this is another clear-cut case of them posing, I would say,
Yes.
posing for the camera like we do.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. Yes.
And as you can see, there's no conventional airplane lights. There would be a red light and a green light and a white light in the middle.
Strobe. Yellow strobe, yes.
And this is, again, staying relatively still in the sky. You say they don't stay, generally speaking, stock still, stationary.
No, they dip a little bit. It's like a boat on the water trying to stay in one spot. They just, they're around. But you can't see that translated to you very far away. You just see them as being still, but they're actually moving around.
And when the light flares up here, that's actually a product of your camera trying to focus, right?
Yes, it's trying to grab the photo.
All right. Well, it's good footage. Yeah, so there you go, people. People always ask me, how come they don't photograph them? Well, they do. And here is a good example of it. And I just really wanted people to know this because Dolly does have an extraordinary story. Everything you've told me, I've said this before, I've heard from other people, pretty much all of it, bit by bit, piece by piece.
Yes.
But for you to bring it all at once is amazing.
It's important to me to clarify the fact that I'm not the only one. Okay, just because I've come out and I'm stating what I'm stating still doesn't make me the only one with information. Everybody has information about this. They're hoping that everybody joins in contact with them. They really do, and I'm excited about it actually. And that's their message. Come join them. Come talk to them. It's easy. You can learn how to do it.
All right, we just have like a few more, but some of them are like really good.
Okay.
Now, here's this is the same footage, but you highlight.
Yeah. Yes, I lightened it up a little bit so you can make more out of him. And I'm
Yeah, you can definitely get more definition here.
Yeah. Talata is that his ship type, his craft type is the more common type of craft. They have the sports models like Lazar drew, the one that he saw, and they have ones that come and get me are more like the sports models. It is a sports model. They have other types of craft, just depending on what the job is that they've got going. And they have much larger craft other than Talata. I mean, Talata's pretty big, but they're way bigger than him. These craft last quite a while until something goes wrong. And when you're making so many, it's like they've got a good mechanism going, you know, and they don't alter from it too much. They've been around too long. It's, you know, what works, don't, it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of attitude. And they spend more of their energy and time on the things that do matter to them. Their craft are important, but they're not trying to be better looking than everybody else. That it never crosses their mind. It's not part of their thinking process. So I will tell you that the Turkish UFO is exactly like Talata. Exactly. And
yeah. Well, you can see the shape right there.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Turkish footage, there you go. I mean,
yeah. Yes.
It's yeah.
That's it. Okay. So
all right. Yeah. Okay, now let's move to the next one, which I think, if I'm correct, is the daylight footage. Yes, I love this one.
I was home in Columbus. It's 2017, and getting ready to have surgery on my arm. I developed an 11-inch blood clot in my arm where I had a fistula from before my kidney got transplanted. And I was sitting there, and it was after my surgery, and I was in my big chair, and I was talking to my donor on the phone. And my phone was in the kitchen on charge, and I'm looking out the window in my living room. It's a big window like this all the way across. And there are 5 of them, and they're circling the house. I'm like, Melissa, hang on. I want her to see it, and I didn't want to tell her what it was right away. So I ran in the kitchen, got the phone. When I came back, I caught one. That was the one. And I was peeved beyond belief. But you can hear me say, I was very emotional. I said, that's a UFO. And I was trying to show it to her.
Well, this is great footage. It's daylight footage. Object is not moving like any conventional object.
Right.
You can see it's not a small...
He's almost stopping and dropping.
Yeah.
He's adjusting, you know. Yeah.
And when it goes behind the tree, that proves that this is not something close to the camera.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, it's very hard to refute stuff like this.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, daylight footage is exceedingly rare.
Correct.
So, yeah, I really like this one as well. And I'm glad you managed to capture it. There, I love that part.
Yeah.
Where it goes behind the tree. That's
a
good job. If ever you're photographing something, do try to get something in the foreground.
Yes,
it
absolutely.
Helps.
You learn that technique, yes. You learn not to get flares from the sun or the moon. You learn what your camera is capable of producing, artifacts that are not there, things like that. You just take a little soft course about it on YouTube. YouTube has lots of courses about photographing things, and it'll help you a lot in your capture of what you're looking at. So,
yeah, very cool. All right.
It was a good day. When I showed this to her, she went dead silent on the phone. She went, "Oh my God, that's a real UFO." Because I'd been talking to her about it forever. Okay, she knew it was a part of my life. I mean, she's practically part of my family. Okay, and when my mom was getting ready to go into assisted living, and she wanted to be in Panama City near my daughter, and so Melissa and I moved her down there. We loaded her up on the truck, moved all the stuff in, and loaded it into the place where she was living. And on the way back, a terrible storm started brewing, and there was a horrible accident. And Talata told me, slow down, stop, do not go forward yet. And I did, and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I said, stop, don't go forward. And she's like, why? I said, there's an accident. And she's like, okay, right, sure. And about 5 minutes later, when we started going again, oh yeah, it was bad. It was a 20-car pileup, and we would have been in it. She was like getting ill over that. And I saw a Mexican restaurant, so we pulled over and had dinner. And afterwards, the weather was so bad, I couldn't tell east, west, north, or south. I didn't know that parking lot. And I turned down the highway the wrong way. And after about 5 minutes, I realized, oh God, I'm going the wrong way. And Talata literally came down in under, you know, you say the limit, you know, the viewing limit of a storm coming down, it was less than 10 miles. It was more like 5. And he bloody came down over the car. And she said, what is that? She was looking at it, and I said, that would be our our way out of here. And I followed me, turned me around, and I got back up on the right road, and he stayed with me almost halfway back to where we were going. And she just sat stone silent in the car. She was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's real. I'm like, yeah. He wanted her, yeah, he wanted very much for her to enjoy that knowledge. He wanted her to have personal contact also, because, I mean, it's just a weird situation how she gave me a kidney in the first place. And he feels very close to her also, so.
Yeah, I want to interview you more about some of those kinds of experiences, because I have to tell you, I put a whole chapter about these sort of events in my book about UFO healing cases, where they rescue people, prevent them from having car accidents and all healing and all kinds of stuff. So we can definitely talk more about that later.
Okay.
But now I want to get to what is honestly my favorite footage.
Okay.
Which is the last one, I think, that we're going to play today. And this is a kind of pretty short one. Oh no, there's one more. Sorry.
It's okay.
I think this
That's
is
Talata. More of him.
Yeah. Put him. Wait, let me start from the beginning because there's good sound here. Oop.
It's very fast. Yeah. That was a weird night for me, by the way. I'd been on a plane all day. I had 2 planes to get on and travel all the way from, Panama City, Florida, all the way out to Las Vegas. That was the closest I could get to Laughlin. And then Yvonne picked me up at the airport, and we drove all the way through the desert to get to Laughlin. So I'd been up at 5 in the morning, and it was after 11 o'clock when I finally said, let's go outside. And, I hear him, and I was face down, tired from all that. And he was berating me the whole time. Just go to bed. Just go to bed. You're fine. You'll be fine. La, 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 la. It's like, no, I want the footage. I'm determined to get this footage. So.
Yeah, I was not thrilled with Laughlin. There's just no water there. Well, there was the river, but it was a dry, dead area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But got good footage.
Yes, it did.
All right. So this is that same UFO conference, the UFO MegaCon.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. So now I think, if I'm correct, is maybe not the really good footage. Well, it's coming soon. This is the drones.
Right.
So this is actually really interesting.
Yeah.
You can see a tiny little dot here, but just wait. There it is.
Oh, this is during the 4th of July.
No,
no, this isn't the 4th of July? Okay.
No, this is when he drops the drones.
Oh, okay. All right.
The ET drones.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably trying to coax them.
But yeah.
I can tell when you're observing them and they're like, it's looking at me, I can hear you thinking. And I had to tell them, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I'll teach you a new word. I'm trying to teach everybody one new word every so often. Luta means go ahead. Luta.
In the Greys language?
Yes, it means go ahead. Luta.
All right. So that's 2 words I know. One is atrear.
Yes, that means I'm ready.
And luta.
Luta, yeah.
Which means here we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's like, come on, drop one. Go ahead.
All right, luta talata. There. Watch this. This is cool. There we go. Because this is kind of footage I haven't seen elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody's got footage like this anywhere. This was a treat for me. Yeah. Yep, there he goes. He's dropping them. It's like, okay, we're going to let them see how we do this. People don't realize how they do it. They have to drop it into an electromagnetic field that can go down below their 2 concurrent fields. If they were trying to drop a drone out of their bubble, it wouldn't make it. It'd hit the inside of it and bounce around. So they have to create a force to drop the drones out of the craft.
All right, so he's pretty low elevation here at this point?
Yeah, he's at just under the mile limit. He's dropping in under a mile. Yep.
All right, here I'm going to turn down the volume because I want to play this again because I have a few things I want to comment on.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now you can't really see much because they're way the heck up there, but there's a tiny little white dot right there.
Yep.
It's quite hard to see, but give it a second and you can still see it.
Yeah. Just so y'all
there.
know that I have a Samsung 10, or is it 11? I have a Samsung. I have an Android phone, and so I have the three lens camera, and it takes decent footage.
All right, so this is just one craft, one light that we're seeing up, right?
Yes.
But at some point,
you see the two lights. That's the whole craft.
okay.
The drones come out the literally at the front side of the craft, right up underneath the front side.
All right,
They have a huge array there that they move out of the way, and they shoot down a light. It's light. That's why it's the color that it is. It's pure light. It's dropping down through a light force that's can penetrate through that electromagnetic current that they've got going on in there, and it literally it's interdimensional.
Okay, so now
it's
we see
semi-interdimensional.
We see the two lights. So this is still one.
Yeah,
craft.
That's the whole craft. Yeah.
Okay, you can only see one now, but we'll see the two in a second. Yeah. And this is Talata, right? Or
no, it's not Talata. It's one that looks like him. He's a little bit bigger. I would call that a mothership. That's a big ship. Big.
How big are we talking? 300, 400 feet?
Yeah, probably 400 or 500 feet.
So from here to
here.
Yeah. And the drones that are being dropped out, the ET drones, I just want to clarify that.
They're about 30 feet long.
All right.
You know the Tic Tacs that everybody sees? That's them.
Oh, all right.
But different power modes for them makes them project different light fields around them. The one where the two fields are shooting out, that's a plasma field. It's heating up. It's getting ready to take off and go where it's going to go. Plasma is funny. It starts at the 2 points, the two main energy points, and then it totally engulfs the entire craft. And they look like a Tic Tac when they're fully running. So.
Very cool. Yeah, and this actually made the evening news. Well, I'm not sure if this was the actual footage that made it, but.
Well, he flew over Las Vegas. He told me he did. So.
Very cool. All right. Now,
lots of people saw him then.
Let me turn the sound back up because we're approaching the end here. Yep. And I just want to play a couple of more pieces. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, here's the one I really like.
Okay. Yeah. He's doing his cuttlefish. He's coming down in stealth. He's making himself look smaller than he really is. And he came way down. And I would have gone with him, except that I was home alone. And if they had come back and I wasn't there, it would have been bad. So I stayed. But I got him on film. That was very, very cool. If you play the sound, you can hear dogs start barking. They were all freaking out, the property next door, because they saw him. They're like, what is that, Yeah,
the sound's on. It's mostly traffic noise.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's on a main road. It's on a highway. And she's got, I guess, about 2.5 acres out there, maybe 2 acres.
This is a window, right, with a pillowcase over it?
Yeah. It's a porch window.
So the house is right here. You can't really see the house itself, but you can see the window.
Right.
And this is Talata. This is.
Yes.
All right. And how high up would you say he is, and how close?
Okay, he's under 1,000 feet. He's about between 500 and 800 feet easily, and he's about an eighth of a mile away from me. In that direction, let's see, he was like due west of me.
And this was in Florida?
No, it's in Georgia. Yes.
All right. So he's right. And are those little lights, or are we just seeing reflections?
Remember I said he's like a cuttlefish? He can make any light pattern on him he wants. He can do an array of little blinky, lights all the way. He can shimmer, and he's being pretty there.
So that's why we have such a wide variation of people describing colored lights and lit up like a Christmas tree, or even different shapes, because they can assume an appearance.
Yes, they can. Absolutely.
But what I like about this footage is it's so darn low.
Yeah, he was coming in. Yeah.
And you can
clearly... He was far enough away from me. He was going to knock my camera out, but he was low enough that I got a good shot of him, And it was so quiet that night. I mean, it was a weird night. Nobody was really out. They were down in town, which is a long ways away from there, and I got good pictures of him.
Yep, and you can't tell me this is just a light in the sky, because it's not. You can see the gray metallic surface there. And the saucer-ish shape.
Right.
And the way you zoom up on it, you can clearly see.
Yep. This is a busy boy.
All right, I'm gonna play it one more time because I just like this footage, and it's the last one we got for today.
I remember when I sent it to you, you lost your mind. You were like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" You were jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
And people ask, "Where's the photographic evidence?" There is a lot of it, and what I like about yours is you're willing to stand behind your footage. You can explain it. So much that's out there on the internet. It's completely anonymous. And a lot of it's clearly CGI and disinformation and completely bogus.
Yes, there is a lot of that. I'm beginning to believe that a lot of experiencers, contactees, are mortified of what the government could do to them or their families, okay? And so they don't talk. I'm kind of at a point in my life where I don't have that hanging over me, and I'm really not afraid of anything anyway,
Right.
So.
Well, no, it's good footage, and Talata was very kind to provide it. It's like I said, it's not often people get good footage.
True.
And people.
Well, I want everybody to take a camera course and get good cameras and go out there. Okay. Right now, you're not going to get more than drones. I'm going to be honest about that. It would be a freaking weird circumstance to see an actual ET craft coming because our magnetosphere is so messed up. It's too dangerous for them. The drones, they're expendable, so they don't mind. Okay. Leaving them behind. They're keeping an eye on us because of what we're all going through. But you will see the drones, and the AI on board can hear you. They're psychic as well. And you can talk one down, get a good shot of it. Go for it. I mean it, go for it. Seriously,
All right, well, I think we got a good look at that. So let me just stop the share so we can get both back on screen here.
Hey.
All right. Whew. That was awesome. It took a little longer than I thought, but that's awesome. That gives a good hour of actual good UFO footage.
Okay.
So there you go. People want photographs.
There you go.
Those are photographs. So I really appreciate you having the courage to step forward and share all these, Dolly.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure and my honor. Actually.
I know there are skeptics out there, and I'm going to say this again, which I've said before, is it's up to each individual person to follow their own pathway towards the truth.
Right. Self-discovery of yourself and the truth. Heal yourself and stick your mind out there and start learning all you can learn. I mean, that's what it's about here. And
yeah, because photographs are not going to prove to you that UFOs are real. The only proof for each individual is personal experience.
Correct.
That's where knowledge comes from. So this is just a little signpost, a little welcoming, just to say that this is the kind of experience that you can have. You can go out there and see this for yourself.
Correct.
And a lot of people have taken really extraordinary photographs. I think we don't see most of them.
This is true. I mean, there are tons of footage on the internet that I used to know about, and it's totally gone now, and it breaks my heart. There are stories that were reported to the different agencies, and they're disappearing as well. and that breaks my heart. So.
Yeah, so this is just one form of evidence. I will say that. I've interviewed Dolly 100 times, going over and over the same events. She has confirming witnesses. She has medical evidence, photographic evidence, other evidence. So it's really just something I want people to know, that there is a lot to her story, and this is the part I've been wanting to share for a while. So once again, thanks, Dolly.
You're very welcome.
And I think I'm going to end it here. I want to thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, like I like to always say,
have fun.
Yes, keep having fun.
Keep having fun. Yep.
All right. Bye for now, guys. Till next time.
Bye. Hey, dude, you watching us? My neighbor is out here with me and her daughter. How do? He's now been out here for about half an hour, close to 40 minutes. Well, we're either going to hear about it on the news or we're not. Wonder how many other people are filming this. By the way, he is circling us. Hello, everybody. That is a UFO. Son of a bitch. If I run outside, I'm not going to catch it. Damn it. God damn. Come here, look at my camera.
I see it.
He's going to do a flyby. I asked for it, we're getting it. They told me to start looking. Yeah, triar.
Whoa.
Yeah. There he goes.
Try to zoom in on him.
Oh
Oh yeah, how pretty. Oh, he's moving all around.
Yep. I'm okay. I'm doing pretty good. Yep. I'm just tired. I know. And I will. Okay, we got an incoming. He's got a low rider.
Oh, I lost him.
Yeah, there's a low rider coming. We're gonna get buzz. Oh, he's dropping drones. Give me the camera. Here, don't turn it off.
He's dropping drones?
Yes. Let's see if I can get him. Yep, there he is. He's dropping drones. It's one of the guys. Uta. Oh, come on. You can let me see. Thank you. Yuta. I'm so tired. It's okay. We're going to charge up tonight. You're going to be back. Allora, a triare. I'm ready.